Indeed. Well, the president, of course, touted the economy and his immigration policies in that record-breaking State of the Union address. In the hour and 48-minute speech, for those of us counting, the president defended his first year back in office, saying, quote, "This is the golden age of America." CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand has more on how the night unfolded.
The President of the United States.
President Trump delivered the longest State of the Union address of the modern era, touting what he called a turnaround for the ages. He defended his record on the economy and immigration 1 year into his second term.
Our border is secure. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before.
The president also addressed rising tensions with Iran.
My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
The Olympic gold medal winning U.S. men's hockey team was among the special guests highlighted last night. The lighthearted moment brought rare bipartisan unity during a speech that put political divides on full display.
These people are crazy.
Reactions were also split.
It was a great review of the extraordinary work we've done.
I thought it was a state of delusion.
The State of the Union comes as President Trump is facing dwindling job approval numbers in a pivotal midterm election year. With the latest CBS News poll showing the president's approval rating at 40%, Democrats are now trying to sway voters their way. Some spoke at an alternative rally outside the Capitol.
In November, are you ready to throw the bums out?
In her official response, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger hit the president on his immigration crackdown and the cost of living.
Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? We all know the answer is no.
President Trump is set to take his economic message to Texas later this week ahead of key primaries in the Lone Star State. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro joins us now. Aaron was part of the intrepid team of fact checkers working late into the night to fact check the president's address. The president, of course, claimed that tariffs are paid by foreign countries. Aaron, can you give us the fact check reality on that?
Adriana, that claim is misleading. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York put out a study this month that found that U.S. importers were responsible for 94% of tariff costs from January through August of last year. That decreased in November as exporters began to take up more of the burden of these costs, but U.S. importers were still on the hook for 86% of those tariff costs. Part of this is due to the fact that foreign exporters are not willing to absorb the costs of these tariffs and instead will raise the cost of their goods for American consumers and businesses.
All right, Aaron, probably I think the most remarkable moment in the president's speech last night was the claim that cheating is, quote, rampant in our elections. In fact, he said that the Democrats are only able to win elections because they cheat. I thought that was a remarkable thing for the president of the United States to say in that room.
And it's been something that has really been repeated from him since his election loss in 2020, where he claims that it was stolen from him without providing any credible evidence, and his legal team failing in nearly all of their court challenges in the aftermath of that 2020 election. But the president's remarks here come as part of a push for Republicans to pass what is known as the Save America Act, which would require proof of citizenship in order to vote. But non-citizens make up such a minuscule amount of registered voters and votes. Data from the Conservative Heritage Foundation found that only 85 non-citizens had voted from 2002 to 2023, and state audits of voter rolls have found that not even close to 1% of those registered are non-citizens in the first place. That's 20 out of 8.2 million in Georgia and about 2,700 out of 18.6 million in Texas. Non-citizens who do find a way to vote do risk deportation and prison time, but bottom line, this is a false claim that there is a rampant cheating in our elections, especially when the president suggests that it's non-citizens that cause that, because they make up such a small amount of fraud and those who are registered to vote.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much for those fact checks. We appreciate you and the team working late into the night last night.
Aaron, you remind me of that meme of like Kermit the Frog at the typewriter.
With the detective hat? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. All right, a number of Democratic lawmakers boycotted the president's speech last night. Some gathered outside the Capitol in protest. CBS News political reporter Hunter Woodall joins us now from Washington to talk about this. So we've started to hear, Hunter, from some of those lawmakers who skipped the president's speech. What are they saying to you?
Well, good morning, Vlad. I mean, what we saw obviously last night was a speech from the president that appealed a lot to, or tried to appeal a lot to, his base of voters. And this is something that is especially important given that we have a very pivotal midterm elections coming up this fall. But we obviously saw Democrats react in kind, given those moments that clearly, while appealing to the president's base, or at least trying to, alarm Democrats and definitely alarm their voters. Earlier today, Maryland Democrat Congressman Glenn Ivey talked a little bit to CBS about what he saw. Let's give that a listen.
It was a little ironic that he mentioned decorum when you have the president attacking people in the audience, especially Somalian descent people like Ilhan Omar, in race-baiting terms. I've never seen or heard anything like that. And you can't imagine someone like George Bush or Barack Obama doing or saying something like that. So I think they really need to look in the mirror before they start pointing those kind of fingers.
And that was so striking when you consider, obviously, all the tensions and the violence we saw spill out in Minnesota in January. That is something that is clearly on people's minds and clearly was on the president's mind as well as he spoke last night.
So, Hunter, what have we heard so far in terms of the reaction to the substance of what the president said?
Well, when you look through these comments, Adriana, it was really striking to me because there was a moment where the president really talked about, a lot of the speech was talking about the economy, right? But there's also this mention of affordability that the president made. This is a term that Democrats have obviously been really harping on in recent months as they look to potentially win back the House in the 2026 midterms. And the president talked about that exact word during the speech. Let's give that a listen as well.
Suddenly used the word affordability, a word, they just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
We're obviously months and months out from the November midterms here, but that moment is one I would expect to see played out between Democrats and Republicans many times in the coming months because this tensions over the economy, the cost, and what it means to actually go and have to buy at stores and really see how much it costs for people is going to matter a lot to voters. Who they blame for those costs. Do they still blame the Biden administration and Democrats from the past few years, or do they blame the Trump administration for the costs they feel like they're facing? That tension is likely to keep playing out, and who really wins out will be one of those big storylines we're tracking in the coming months.
All right, Hunter Woodall reporting from Washington for us. Hunter, thank you.